Greetings, everyone. David J Coon with Qigong Awareness, author of Qigong for Beginners, Your Path to Greater Health and Vitality. Vlog number 45. Let's go with a part two. Okay. So I want to talk to you more about creating your reality from the inside out. Another way of saying it would be influencing your reality from the inside out. As I often say, there are so many things in our life. I'm going to look something up here real quick. There are so many things in our life that we cannot control. Okay. And in other words, for some people, there's a lot, when it's piling up, it's like a lot, right? And maybe other times it's a few things. But anyway, it seems as though, okay, there's just all these things that I can't control. And there's a lot of things you can't control. But there are things that you can control with some practice and some inner focus and inner discipline as opposed to outer focus. So I teach people this, talk about this in terms of private coaching, group coaching, etc. I talk about this idea of turning inward, recognizing and realizing that you are the sun in your universe, right? Think about the sun. Boom, it's sitting there and it's putting off its light, and all these other planets are revolving around it. Okay, we started to talk about that in the last vlog. Now, those people, those places, those things that are going on around you, they're there based on what you've heard of in terms of the law of attraction, or you've heard Jesus say, as you sow, ye shall reap. The Buddha called it karma. The physicists say for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. This is all law of attraction on the level that it is. Okay. Essentially, electromagnetism, magnets coming together. So the people in your life, the things in your life, the events in your life, they are coming together based on the electromagnetics of what? Well, the electromagnetics of your own energy field. So not just I'm trying to think positive, not just uh, I did this one good thing or I practiced qigong. You know, if you want to have more say, so to speak, more power of magnetism, attracting certain things to you always means repelling other things. One of the best ways, if not the best way to do that, is to do it from the inside out, not from the outside in, but to go inward and to start to work with your own energy. Take a breath into that for a moment. Working with your own energy, not other people's energy. You know what that's like when you've been going through a busy day or whatever's going on and you have different people doing different things and you're very stressed and you go home from work, let's just say something like that. Well, then most people will like numb themselves out, watch TV, maybe drink a beer, like whatever the thing is. But learning to clear the cloud cover, which would be one reason to practice Qigong. Clear the cloud cover out so that you can come back to yourself, as it's sometimes said, or come back to what is called your own center, which is where your power is. Qigong practice can help you to do that. Practicing various forms of meditation can help you do that. And there are other practices we can engage in as well, such as mentioned in the last vlog, which is becoming aware of what we're saying, what we're speaking, what we're saying over not only our water, not only our body, not only our DNA, okay, but also over the entirety of our life, because wherever we go, our what the physicists call our quantum field, it goes with us wherever we go. Like you just think of it as your energy field. Wherever you go, there your energy field is. And whatever your energy field is vibrating to, well, then that's bringing you what and who and so on is coming into your life. So learning to become masterful in your practices and in your habits is essential if you want to change what's going on in the outer. And if you don't, you don't need to watch this video. Don't even bother watching it. You don't need to. But if you're looking to influence the outer of whatever you have going on, then you also have to change the inner. A lot of people think of the inner as like the body. And it is, on the level that it is, the most surface part of the inner is the body. But as we go deeper, more inward, we're talking about the energetic nature of our being and whatever state that is in. And let's talk about this for a moment. Imagine a lake, okay? And in the lake, at the very deep part of the lake, it is quiet and it is still. That is your self. That is your center. When I say self, that's like sometimes called self with a capital S. That is your authentic self. That is your true nature. But then on the surface of this lake, imagine there's bumps and ripples and waves. Okay. And the bumps and the ripples and the waves sometimes can become so much that it calls all of your attention. So you're no longer aware of the deeper, calmer lake and the depth of that lake. Okay. You're more aware of the surface and what's riding here. And the more you're on the surface and the more bumpy that surface is, the more that you're in what would be called your ego, which is essentially the surface of who you are, be one way of thinking about it simply for now, for this particular conversation anyway. It's the surface of who you are. In other words, David wears red. Not always, but a lot of times when I do these vlogs, in red anyway. So he does his hair in a particular way. He has his watch on his left wrist, whatever. These are things on the surface of who I am. Oh, there's David. He's teaching Qigong again. He's teaching about the law of attraction. He's talking about Bruce Lee and martial arts and Qigong and breathing. Okay. This is on the surface of who I am. It's not enough to just come in here tomorrow, which I might, but come in with a black shirt or come in with a yellow shirt or whatever the case may be. Those things can influence to some degree the inner. There's no doubt about that. But if you're really looking for where the power is to influence things in your life, is related to the inner. That is why Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven lives within you, not just the kingdom of heaven. And yet, yes, the kingdom of heaven. Sometimes when we hear these teachings, these old teachings, so to speak, whatever, we don't know what it means. So let's just think energy for a moment. The kingdom of heaven is the energy within you. And I'm not talking about the energy on the surface, the bumpy energy, which actually could be referred to as interference. I'm talking about the energy below that, the deeper energy that most of us in general have a hard time finding. You can find it through various practices of meditation. You can find it through Qigong. You can find it through yogic practices. Martial arts will even take you there to some degree. Running may take you there to a certain degree to find that deeper lake a little bit. You can also work with a good therapist, a good coach, a good counselor, a good healer, etc. And they can help you sift through some of the interference to help give you a glimpse of what, again, the Buddhists, for example, would call your true nature. If I'm speaking to you, which obviously I am, when I talk about that true nature, when I talk about that essence of you, and when I talk about that self, capital S, self, okay, as opposed to the little self, as opposed to the ego, as opposed to the interference that's on the bumpiness of the lake, then I'm going to talk about the energy dynamic of that space. I don't know because I wasn't there, so to speak, with Jesus. I wasn't there with Buddha, so I don't know exactly how they taught it or what they did or didn't say because I know a lot of things as during Jesus's time in particular. I'm not sure about the Buddha, but during Jesus's time, there was a lot of things like you couldn't say, you couldn't talk about like the kingdom of heaven within you, but he was talking about it anyway. So how much were they able to talk about like energy? I don't know, maybe a little, maybe not. But I will share with you my own experience. I've done a lot of meditation. When I say a lot, it's a lot more than most people. I've been practicing for the last 30 years, both forms of moving meditation, still meditation, seated meditation, lying down practices, standing practices, etc. I spent a lot of time with myself. And when I say myself, in this case, I'm talking about the little self, and I'm also talking about the bigger self. I've spent time with both of those entities. Just as a sideline, what do you think to help understand and bring context? When I show up to do healing work, which part of me do you think has the ability to run higher vibrations of light, higher currents of chi, whatever you want to call it, whatever words you want to call it? Should be obvious. It is going to be my capital S self. David's ego couldn't find his way out of a wet paper bag. Maybe a wet paper bag, but maybe not farther beyond that. Okay. There's no way David, the character, can bring the kingdom of heaven. And yet, the kingdom of heaven lives inside each one of us, and it is called your true nature. It is called your essence. It is called the Buddha within you. It is called the Christ within you. These are all wonderful names and hints to what lives inside you. But if you want to change the outer, you have to get in touch with that inner, however you do it. However you do it, you have to get in touch with the inner. And you will find in time, and as the Buddhists would say, if not in this lifetime, the next 10 lifetimes, you will find in time that if you want to fix the problems in your outer reality, if you want to shift them, if you want to change them, then you have to get in touch with the energy that's going on inside of you. So let me give you an example. One of the things that we've done, and various teachers will teach it in this way, it's just what's coming to me off the top of my head. I'll use this example. We have, as human beings, you hear the gurus say, we've fallen asleep. We've fallen asleep into Maya. We've forgotten who we are. Some teachers will say that we have reversed the laws of cause and effect. We believe that we are the effect of this dream, that the dream is influencing us, and the outer cues are coming to us. We're reacting to them. And then we are living as if we're a victim to those outer situations and circumstances and so on. And a lot of us, and I certainly was for many years, living as a victim of those circumstances that were coming at me, seemingly coming at me or coming to me or whatever, however you want to say that, attacking me from the outside, that kind of idea, right? And the more that you get in touch with these practices, and you should also be understanding here, hopefully, that this is the why of the practice. This is the why of the practice because these things in your life, for most people, are going to come. The challenges, the obstacles, the bumps, etc., they're going to come. And I won't go into all the reasons why that is, but in general, we'll say it's coming because of the law of attraction. And it is a feedback mechanism because it's showing you the thoughts that you're holding on to. It's showing the emotions that you're resonating with. And perhaps life is very kind and very unconditional in one sense that it loves you so much that it's just going to let you experience whatever you need to experience. So if you want to be running late and feel bad and be down on yourself and be angry and get into a fight with a part in the parking lot with somebody else who's feeling the same way. Existence will sit back. The sun will sit back and watch you while you're having this fight and you duke it out, right? But at some point you may realize like that is not that was me like years ago, and maybe some bullies were picking on me and like and there I am in that game, right? And I don't want to be any part of that anymore. And so in order to change that, I had to change from the inside. We can talk about changing our speech. We can talk about using mantra or incantations and different kinds of ideas like that to replace things we're saying and thinking with higher vibrational thoughts and thoughts that are more aligned with the larger picture. I highly recommend that. Talk about that in my book simultaneously. Jesus said it. Power lives within you. The kingdom of heaven lives within you. I highly recommend learning some practices to shift what's going on the inside. And if you can't yet do that through meditation, you can't yet do that through your own Qigong practice, then I highly recommend hiring someone. Could be myself, could be someone else, but work with someone who is a coach, work with someone who is a trainer, work with someone who is a healer, who can actually help you shift your energy, shift it. And when I say shift your energy, I don't mean like a little bit here on the surface. I mean, help you expand what's going on inside you so that you yourself can get in touch with that thing called that non thing, that energy thing called the kingdom of heaven. And what is super interesting about that, and we can dialogue it more if you'd like, uh, perhaps another time, and I'm sure we will, okay? But I'll say briefly here that inner place, the one inside yourself that is energetic, that lives underneath the interference, the stuff that's happening on the surface. Everybody wants that. Well, I won't say everybody wants that, but everybody seeking healing wants that. Let me put it that way. Everybody seeking healing wants to know that place. Some people, though, aren't sure. How do I get in touch with that place? How do I go through the interference? It takes either a little bit of discipline or it takes a little bit of help, and sometimes it takes both. It is harder to come to a program where I'm going to teach you all weekend and you're going to practice Qigong and we're going to have dialogues like this and you're going to train and you're going to work with other people and they're going to work with you. But by the end of the weekend, it is going to be amazing. The energy is going to be incredible and there's going to be huge shifts. And people always ask, how did all these shifts happen? Well, I know what we were doing this, we did that, but like, wow, what is going on? So it's amazing. Okay. But it takes a certain amount of discipline to show up to that kind of weekend. I mean, first of all, it costs money. Then you might have to travel. Then you got to go through all this work of shifting your energy. But guess what? That's called a major investment in yourself. And not just your little ass, but your big ass. That's just not a marketing gimmick. That's like legit. That's a truth. Doesn't mean you should come and doesn't mean that you're going to come, etc. Okay? Like you have to figure that part out. But I'm using that as an example because if that way and that method didn't work, for example, whether it was myself or someone else that you resonated with, and you were to lie down on their massage table or you were to lie down at home on your sofa or something, and I were to use my mind and place my mind onto your energy, and you were to just lay there and take a nap, I've done this for a lot of years, the results can be pretty profound. That takes a lot less discipline. It just does. And there are benefits to both. I think at some point, everybody who's receiving healing, for example, everybody at some point should get the discipline and should learn how to do it. So, like, I'm a teacher that on the level that I am, I will literally feed you a fish for today. I will feed you a fish for tomorrow. That's the healing work that I do. This is hard to totally explain, but if you've stuck it out this long in this vlog, then you probably can stick it out a few minutes longer and understand it. Um, that light that I bring from inside me, that's my capital S self. I can actually use that to wake your inner self up, make a connection there, and then all of a sudden, boom, you become much more aware of it than you would have been otherwise. It takes a lot less discipline on your part to do it that way. And there are gurus who do that in their own way and healers who do that in their own way, and it's a shortcut. You might as well take it. Like if you want it, you're ready for it, you're looking for it, then by all means, find a way to take advantage of that because I did that many, many times before I got to be where I am. But either way, we want to bring attention and awakening and activation and so on and remembrance to this inner self. Because if you change the inner self, if you change from the inside, if you first you find the kingdom of heaven, you find your inner energy field, you begin to work with it, and then you expand it, you will change who and what and how things are falling together in your life because as you create peace inside, you'll also create it on the outside. I'll see you in the next vlog. Thanks for tuning in.